Welcome once again to Kaywon Action Star. I'm so glad to have you tune in. Let's get straight to what I have for you today. A young girl moves silently through a snowy forest, tracking a deer. She gets close, releases her arrow, and wounds the animal, but it dashes away. After a short pursuit, she finds it again and delivers a final blow. Just as she finishes, a man named Eric appears, reminding her to stay alert. The girl, named Hannah, tries to argue, but Eric firmly corrects her. She drags the deer back to their secluded cabin, visibly upset. Eric notices her mood and asks what's wrong, offering her advice about being more cautious. Later, he quizzes her on different languages and talks about blue whales, sparking her curiosity about music. She presses him to explain what it feels like, but rather than just describing it, she insists she wants to experience it firsthand. Seeing her growing interest in the outside world, Eric reveals a hidden book. She flips through its pages, studying the pictures until she drifts off to sleep. The next morning, Eric continues training Hannah in survival skills, including archery, combat techniques, and even public speaking. That night, while she sleeps, he attempts to surprise her with an attack, but she successfully fights him off. Confident in her abilities, she declares she is ready to leave their hidden sanctuary. Eric is later seen digging something outside, and the following morning, Hannah plays with a dog that resembles a wolf. When an airplane soars overhead, she rushes to tell Eric, excited by the sight. He tells her that if she truly wants to leave, she should press a specific button. However, after hearing about the dangers beyond their isolated life, she hesitates and chooses to stay. Later, Eric shares the story of the first animal sent to space, and as she listens, she gradually falls asleep. The next day, Eric prepares for a hunt and invites Hannah to join, but she politely declines. After he leaves, curiosity gets the best of her, and she presses the button. This small action triggers an alarm in a distant apartment, waking a woman who quickly turns it off and starts her day. Back in the forest, Eric returns to find that Hannah activated the device. He sits down, deep in thought, realizing they now have limited time. Meanwhile, in a government facility, a man informs the woman from the apartment about a signal detected in the forest. A meeting is held among high-ranking officials who debate their next move. Some suggest involving international agencies, but another operative named Lewis convinces them to handle the matter internally. Soon, a skilled agent named Ellis pinpoints Hannah's location. Back at the cabin, Eric prepares to leave, changing into formal attire and heading off alone, leaving Hannah behind. That night, government operatives arrive at the cabin, attempting to capture her. She swiftly takes down two guards trying to enter. Meanwhile, Lewis updates his superior, who orders him to bring Hannah in. Captured, Hannah is taken to a secure facility where she is interrogated by an agent attempting to gain her trust. When she asks to speak with a woman named Marissa, she is told that Marissa is already listening. Eventually, Marissa arrives, but instead of meeting her in person, a lookalike speaks to Hannah through a microphone, pretending to be Marissa. This imposter tells her a fabricated story about meeting her father, evoking an emotional response. Hannah, overwhelmed, embraces the lookalike. Concerned for their safety, the facility's personnel order soldiers to sedate her and move her back to her cell. However, Hannah anticipates their actions and overpowers everyone in the room. She fights her way through multiple guards and finds an escape route through the ventilation system. Crawling through the ducts, she eventually reaches a locker room. Holding a scientist at gunpoint, she forces him to lock himself in a storage unit before making her next move. Hannah doesn't stop there, she shoves another worker aside while seeking a way out. Eventually, she locates an exit and escapes to an isolated location. Spotting an army truck, she sneaks under it and hitches a ride. When she feels safe enough, she detaches herself from the vehicle and takes in the vast desert landscape. Meanwhile, at the facility, Marissa retrieves a classified file from a safe and burns it. This action sparks a memory, revealing a past mission where she was ordered to eliminate an entire family, one that included Eric, a young Hannah, and her mother. In the present, as Hannah wanders the desert, she encounters Sophie, a tourist. Their introduction is a bit awkward, and Sophie initially brushes her off. However, Sophie's younger brother, Miles, spots Hannah, and their parents call them back to their camper. Before parting ways, Sophie offers Hannah a ride, but she declines, preferring to continue on foot. Meanwhile, Marissa boards a private jet, instructing her team to shift their focus to capturing Eric rather than Hannah. As Hannah follows a river, she stumbles upon a group of women washing clothes. She discreetly takes a garment and continues her journey until she reaches a town. There, she enters an elderly man's shop and communicates in a foreign language. Seeing a television for the first time, she is mesmerized. Sensing her unease, the man offers her a place to stay for the night. However, once outside again, the unfamiliar environment overwhelms her, and she runs into Sophie and Miles once more. Back in the city, Marissa arrives and seeks information about Hannah's whereabouts from a local bar owner. Meanwhile, Hannah shares dinner with Sophie's family at their hotel. Sophie chatters endlessly while Hannah quietly eats, her reserved nature intriguing Sophie's parents. That night, as Hannah listens to the sound of distant prayers, she studies a file she retrieved. The next morning, Sophie argues with her parents inside their RV, unaware that Hannah had secretly hidden inside overnight. Elsewhere, the shopkeeper from earlier is tied to a chair and interrogated by government agents. They extract crucial details from surveillance footage before eliminating him. Hannah, still concealed in the RV, watches as agents leave their vehicle and enter a nearby market. Meanwhile, Eric surfaces from a body of water but is quickly confronted by local authorities. As the story unfolds, agents set up an ambush for Sophie's RV on a bridge. A motorcycle agent trails them, while inside, Sophie's family shares a moment of peace. Meanwhile, Marissa and Louis uncover the bodies of officers Eric had eliminated during his escape, but Marissa instructs Louis to keep this quiet. That evening, as the RV makes a stop, Hannah senses they are being followed. Sophie's mother consults a map while Hannah thanks Sophie for her kindness before abruptly fleeing. Agents pursue her through a maze of shipping containers, and in the chaos, Sophie sees Hannah neutralize one of her pursuers. Horrified, Sophie runs in the opposite direction. Hannah, now fighting for survival, manages to escape by diving into the water. Though the agents lose sight of her, they capture Sophie and her family, bringing them to Marissa for interrogation. Meanwhile, Hannah stows away on a boat heading to an unknown location. As the agents question Sophie's younger brother, he unwittingly reveals where Hannah was headed. Now in a developed city, Hannah navigates the streets until she discovers a hidden residence featuring sculptures of prehistoric creatures. She finds a secluded house where an old acquaintance of Eric welcomes her. He hands her an envelope containing an address, food, and a passport, explaining that she will need a photograph. Their conversation about her past is cut short when Marissa and her team storm the house. Hannah hides under a bed as the agents search the area, making casual remarks about Eric and her origins. During the search, Marissa receives a call from her superior, reprimanding her for acting alone. Using this distraction, Hannah slips away and heads into the city. She stops at a cafe, gathering information on Eric's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Eric arrives at his friend's house but, spotting agents nearby, quickly disappears. Later, Hannah confronts Eric, demanding to know the truth. He reveals that she was part of a genetic project designed to create enhanced individuals. Despite this revelation, Eric reassures Hannah of his love for her. As they attempt to escape, agents arrive, forcing them to split up. Hannah evades capture while Eric engages in a chase, eliminating several pursuers before Marissa fatally shoots him. Later, Hannah returns to an abandoned house, only to hear Marissa's voice echoing around her. Armed with a bow, she escapes into the wilderness. Marissa tracks her, firing shots, but Hannah retaliates, landing a precise hit that knocks Marissa down. When Marissa regains consciousness, Hannah finds her attempting to flee. Following her trail, Hannah catches up just as Marissa loses her footing. As she clings to the edge, Hannah makes her final move, ending their confrontation. Thank you so much for watching. I currently don't have many subscribers yet, but as I keep growing this channel with your support, it'll be my pleasure to have you subscribe. Importantly also, is when you put your comments down below and give my video a thumbs up, which is a ray of hope to motivate me. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting recaps. See you on our next one. Cheers.